Hello everyone. Today we have come again with a new topic of theory of machine related to brakes. In last video we have discussed about brakes. The type of brake was the mechanical brake, in which one of the radial brakes we have discussed. So that was the single block brake or shoe brake. Today we have come up with a new topic, that is band brakes. These type of brakes are classified under mechanical brakes, and these are also type of brakes which are of external contracting type of brakes. So hello friends, welcome to our YouTube channel Learning the Basics. My name is Ashish Pandey and we are going to discuss band brakes. So first of all, what is a band brake? So this is a brake which is of external contracting type of brake and a mechanical brake. So it consists of a rope, belt or a flexible steel band which is lined with the friction material, which will be pressed against the external surface of a cylindrical drum when the brake is applied. The figure is given over here. Look at the figure. See, in the figure, this pink type of object is your band. The inner circumference of this band, is lined with a friction material, right? And this gray color wheel is the drum. Okay, this blue color object is the lever. See, in this line, in this lever, there are 3 points. Point number 1 here, point number 2 this one, and point number 3 is this one, right? So the two parts, the two sides of the band are attached on both sides of the fulcrum. This point, the middle point, is known as fulcrum. So the two ends of the band, see the two ends, end number 1 and number 2. The two ends of the band are attached on either side of the fulcrum. Let this be the middle point, be the fulcrum O. Okay, so point number 1 is one end of the band, point number 2 is another end of the band, and point number O is the fulcrum of this lever, right? So such type of band brakes in which the two ends of a band are attached on either side of the fulcrum are known as differential band brake. Friends, differential band brake is known as differential band brake. Okay, sometimes what we do, one end of the band one end of the band is attached to the fulcrum itself. In that type is known as simple band brake. Hello everyone, again listen carefully. When one end of the band is attached to the fulcrum, then it is known as simple band brake, and when both ends are on either side of the fulcrum, then it is known as differential band brake. Okay, so I think you understand the construction of this band brake, differential band brake and simple band brake. Now again, see, when you apply in the figure, see, when you apply, you have tilted this yellow color arrow shows you that you have applied the brake, and these are showing that the how the band is being applied with a tensile force. And see this here, the wheel or drum is totally being captured or being sticked with the band. In this way the force is applied on the drum and the drum is stopped, and so the wheel is stopped and the brake is applied. So such type of brakes are known as band brake. In the next slide we are going to calculate the braking torque and applied effort in a simple band brake. So as I told you that in some simple band brake, one end of the band or belt is attached to the fulcrum itself. Then such type of your brakes are known as simple band brake. So here in this figure, COBC is a lever. Point O is the fulcrum. Point O here is the fulcrum. Point O is here. See, this is point O. Here it is fulcrum. Point B is a point where other end of the band is attached, and here at point C we have applied effort, and the effort is the direction of the effort is in, so direction of the applied effort is in upward direction. Now let us discuss about the what terminologies or what terms are used over here. Let me discuss these first. See, this is your drum. The inside one is the drum, the outside one is the band. The drum is moving in, see here the direction is given over here, it means the drum is moving in clockwise direction. See, this is the theta, the point L. Look at the point L, the dotted line from L to the center of this drum, this line, and see from center to this line at till point M. So M to L is the angle of lap. M to L, this is arc of contact actually, or you can say the angle made by this arc of contact at the center of the drum is theta. So this theta is angle of lap, okay, or embrace or of the band or on the drum. It is written over here, theta is the angle of lap, right? Next is mu. What is mu? Mu is the coefficient of friction between the band and between drum. The coefficient of friction which is acting between the band and the drum, that is mu. Small r is the radius of the drum. Small t is the thickness of the, here look at the figure, t. This t is the thickness of the belt or band. So if we talk about effective radius, so half of the thickness of the band plus the radius of the wheel is known as effective radius of the drum. Now T1 and T2 are the tension in the tight side of the band, and T2 is the tension in the slack side of the band. So this is the introduction or the terms used in this analysis. Now move forward. Again the same figure is here. See, one more thing is there, the length of the distance between the fulcrum and the applied effort is small l, and the distance between the point B to fulcrum O is small b. Remember this. Again we have discussed in some of our previous video or in the video of belt drives, we have discussed about these tight and slack side of tension. I will give you the link of that video in description box. From there you can very easily understand that how these tensions comes, how one side tension is more than the other side of the tension. So you can also see the derivation of this portion, the tension ratio T1 upon T2 is equal to exponential of the mu into theta, right? You can also see that derivation there. So from there also, in the same way, here this is like a pulley, the drum is like a pulley and the band is like a belt. So here also we can uh, put these ratio, the ratio of the tension as T1 upon T2 is equal to E to the power mu theta. Again, if you talk about the breaking force on the drum, so that will be the difference between these two tension, that is T1 minus T2. And if you talk about the breaking torque, so torque is equal to force into perpendicular distance, and here in on the circumference the perpendicular distance will be the radius of this drum. So TB is equal to T1 minus T2, which is the force, into radius of the drum, that will be the breaking torque. And if you consider the thickness of the band also, then the radius will be termed as effective radius, which is equal to R plus small t by 2. So T1 minus T2 into Re will be the breaking torque in case you consider the thickness of the band. Next we move and we will see that how much effort you have to apply. It means you have to calculate what we are going to calculate. We are going to calculate the value of the P, the applied effort. For that purpose, what we will assume, we will assume the equilibrium of this system. So for there are three equilibrium conditions: sigma fx is equal to 0, sigma fy is equal to 0, and sigma m about any point equals to 0. That is the algebraic sum of all the moments about a point is equal to 0. Then we can say that the body is in equilibrium. So the case 3, we will consider the case 3, and we will take all the moments of all the forces acting on this lever about O. So taking the moment about O. So in the next slide here, see it, this is the figure we are continuously discussing. The wheel is moving in, the drum is moving in clockwise direction. This T1, see here arrows are shown in both directions. Just cut the arrow from middle and you will see the force acting on the lever. So the tension T1 acting on the lever is in downward direction, the effort P is in upward direction. Here also the force T2 is in outward direction from the fulcrum O. So if we make a free body diagram of the forces, you will see that this is your applied effort P, this is your applied effort P, here it is T1, this will be T1, and here at the point 2, see this is the point 2, here it will be T2, right? So this is your point 2. Now the moment of the force which is going through the same point from where we are taking moment will be 0. It means the perpendicular distance here is 0, so T2 into 0 will have 0 moment. We are taking the moment about point O, and this is the point O. So P is in upward direction, so what will be the moment of effort P about O will be P into L. Here look here, the applied effort P and the perpendicular distance of the line of action of this effort P will be equal to P into L. P into L in which direction? In anti-clockwise direction. See, you have to take moment in the direction of the force while including the point about which you are going to take the moment. So you are taking the moment about point O, the direction of force is upward, so go upward and move towards the fulcrum O. The direction you will see is anti-clockwise direction. Let us assume anti-clockwise direction is equal to is in minus, is in negative, and the clockwise direction is in positive. In this way this will be minus P into L, and this T1 into this distance, what is this distance? This is B, T1 into B. So T1 into B is in clockwise direction, T1 into B is in clockwise direction, minus PL is equal to what? 0. So PL will be equal to T1 into B. See here, PL is equal to T1 into B. This is for clockwise rotation of the drum. the same consideration you will find the value PL is equal to T2B in case when the drum is moving in anti-clockwise direction. See, in this case, when the belt is moving in anti-clockwise direction, here the force will be T2. See, here this is your tight side. T1 is always the tight side tension and T2 is always the slack side tension. So here T1 is the tight side, here T1 is the here tight side and it is the slack side. T2 is less than T1. Tight side tension will always be greater than the slack side tension. Remember this. So in this case, P into L in negative minus PL, T2 into this small b, T2 into B equals to 0. It means PL is equal to T2 into B. So this from here, if you have T1 and B and L, you can easily find the applied effort, or if you have applied effort P, L and B, you can find T1. Okay, so I think that you have understood the concept of how you find the effort applied effort in case of band brakes, how you find T1 upon T2 ratio, how you find the braking torque in case of band brake. Next, again we come to the differential band brake type. See, I told you that what are the differential band brakes? When both the ends of the band are on different side of the fulcrum. See, this is the point O, that is fulcrum. This point B, one end of the band, and point A, another end of the band. See, now here A, the distance A, that is from the fulcrum to the point A, the small A distance is greater than the distance OB, that is small b. It means A is greater than B. In this case, A is greater than B. Remember, when this is here, the applied effort is in downward direction. See, okay, the applied effort is in downward direction. Look at the figure, the applied effort is in downward direction. Again the same thing, you can find the your braking torque as in the previous equation, that is T1 minus T2 into small r, or T1 minus T2 into RE, that is effective radius. So braking torque formula will remain same. Now for the equilibrium condition, if you take the moments about the fulcrum O, there will be some change. What is that? P into L, you are taking the moment about point O. So P into L is in clockwise direction, that is plus. Here see, the direction of the drum is clockwise direction. Okay, right? So P into L. Now this place is here, the tension is T1 in downward direction. See, cut the band and look at the direction of the force or tension on the lever, not on the drum, on the lever. Okay, so it is in downward direction. So downward direction T1 into this distance, this is B, T1 into B in clockwise direction also. So PL plus T1B, PL plus T1B here, PL plus T1B, and this T2 is in this direction, T2, and the perpendicular distance from O is A. So T2 into A is in anti-clockwise direction. T2 into A is in anti-clockwise direction, that is minus T2 into A equals to 0. Minus will become plus if you get if you transfer it on other side. So PL plus T1B is equal to T2A will be the case when for clockwise rotation of the drum. Remember here one thing, that A is greater than B, right? Remember this thing. Again, if you want to find this for anti-clockwise motion of the drum, so this is anti-clockwise direction of the drum, applied effort is in downward direction, A is greater than B. See all the forces, look at the forces, P into L clockwise, T2 into B clockwise, and T1 into A is in anti-clockwise direction. So T1 into A will be on other side. PL plus T2B is equal to T1A. This is for anti-clockwise rotation of the drum. So here from here PL is equal to, you can find this, PL is equal to, you can find this. you can find this. Okay, now what I want to tell you here, there are 2-3 things which I want to tell you here. First thing is that if anyhow p is equal to 0, p becomes 0, that is you are not applying any type of effort, or p becomes negative. These two cases are the cases of self-locking brake, as discussed in previous video. So some of my students were confused in self-locking brake. What are self-locking brakes? So let me discuss some things about self-locking brakes over here. See, in self-locking brakes, these are used, self-locking brakes are used where in hoists or in cranes where some heavy load is being lowered. See, what are self-locking brakes? These are actually locked when the brakes are not applied. The brakes are locked. It means brakes has been applied when you don't press the pedal or you don't pull any lever. Without application of any force, the brakes are applied. Such type of brakes are self-locking brakes, right? So we are discussing what self-locking brakes. So the name indicates self-locking means without any effort the brake has been applied. This is the meaning of the self-locking, right? So for example, when you are lowering some heavy load from a hoist, the operator pushes a pedal or pulls a lever. When he pulls a lever or pushes a pedal, the brakes are disengaged, right? The brakes are disengaged. It means what? It is opposite. The opposite thing is happening there. See, when the vehicle is moving and we press the pedal, the brakes are applied. But in case of self-locking brakes, when you press the pedal or when you draw the lever or pull the lever, the brakes are disengaged. It means when the brakes are disengaged, the load will come downward, the load will lower down. As you release the lever or as you release the pedal, the brakes will be applied. So such type of brakes are known as self-locking brakes, and the condition of self-locking brake has been discussed earlier when we were talking about the shoe brake. In this case, in case of band brake, let us discuss now in case of band brake what will be the self-locking condition. So as I told you, if p becomes 0 or negative, that means p is less than or equal to 0. In that case, you will find a case of self-locking brakes. So put the equation 1, p is equal to 0. In equation 1, put p is equal to 0. As you put p is equal to 0, p is less than or equal to 0, you will find what? You will find T1b is less than or equal to T2a. As you put p is less than or equal to 0 in equation 1, you will get T1b is less than or equal to p is equal to, let me think about it, T1b, right, T1b will be less than or equal to T2 into a. So this will be the condition of self-locking. So we are going to look at this self-locking condition in our next slide. See, condition for self-locking of a band brake. So T2a is less than or equal to T1b. Again, T2 upon T1, if you want to find out, T2 upon T1 is less than or equal to B upon A. This is the condition for self-locking in band brakes. For anti-clockwise rotation, here put P less than or equal to 0 and you will get T2B is less than or equal to T1A. right? So in the next slide, T1B, T2A is less than or equal to T1B, or T1B is greater than C. This is condition for anti-clockwise motion of the drum for self-locking, right? So I think that you have understood the concept of self-locking of brake, and here you have also find that how we can find the condition of self-locking for a band brake. One more thing is there. See, if anyhow this A becomes less than B, we have discussed here the case A greater than B. If anyhow A becomes less than B, or B is greater than A, in that case this applied effort will be in upward direction. So there will also be two cases: applied effort in upward direction, A less than B, and wheel moving in clockwise direction, case 1. Case 2 will be A less than B, applied effort is in upward direction and wheel is moving in anti-clockwise direction, right? So there are two cases also. You can find applied effort by the same equation, equilibrium equation. Just use this equation, that is sigma m is equal to 0, and find what will be the condition of self-locking for a differential band brake when A is less than B. This is your homework, guys. Try to do it and you will definitely be more confident. Do numericals on this. This topic has been completed from my side. See, one more thing I want to tell you, that this whole thing, like here figure 19.14a and b, see, I have taken all these slides from the book of Theory of Machine written by Mr. Dr. R.S. Khurmi. So I hope that you have got the idea of the band brake, braking torque in band brake, and applied effort in band brake, the concept of self-locking of shoe brake and band brake also. If you like the channel, like the information, please do subscribe, share the channel as much as you can. Thank you very much.